There's a question you've probably never asked yourself, at least not seriously. Why do you want what you want? It sounds like a simple question. Most people answer quickly. I want what I want because I want it. I like what I like. It's my preference. It's my desire. René Girard would tell you, this is the biggest illusion of our generation. He believes something radically different, something almost uncomfortable, something that makes you question every choice you've ever made. Girard said, your desires are not yours. You think they are, but they're borrowed, imitated, absorbed, copied, inherited, modeled, shaped by others. In other words, you want what you want because someone else wanted it first. A model, a reference point, a person whose desire you absorbed unconsciously. Girard says desire works like yawning. It spreads. You catch it. You inhale it. You copy it without realizing. And once you see this pattern, it is everywhere. Look at children. A child ignores a toy until another child picks it up. Suddenly, that toy becomes valuable, not because of the toy, but because someone else desires it. Adults are the same, just with more sophisticated toys. You see someone succeed, and suddenly you want what they have. You see someone travel somewhere, and suddenly that destination becomes beautiful. You see someone praised for something, and suddenly you feel compelled to chase the same thing. Most desire is second-hand desire. And here's where it gets interesting. Girard said humans don't imitate what others have. They imitate what they want. We don't desire objects directly. We desire the desire behind the object. You don't want the luxury car. You want the admiration that the person with the car receives. You don't want the job. You want the prestige the job holder radiates. You don't want the lifestyle. You want the social value attached to the person living it. The object is never the object. The object is the symbol. And the symbol comes from someone else's desire. So if our desires are borrowed, what does that create? Competition, rivalry, conflict. Not because humans are inherently competitive, but because using others as models for desire turns those same people into rivals. If you imitate someone's desire, you are suddenly in pursuit of the same object that they're in pursuit of. And the closer they are to you, in age, class, background, career, the stronger the rivalry becomes. You don't compete with billionaires. You compete with people like you, people close enough to mimic, people close enough to threaten your identity. This is why jealousy doesn't happen with distant people. It happens with peers. Girard said, we envy those who are similar to us, not those who are far above us, because similarity intensifies mimetic conflict. You don't envy Elon Musk. You envy your coworker who got promoted before you. You envy your friend who suddenly became successful. You envy someone online who lives the life you feel you could have lived. The smaller the distance, the bigger the jealousy. Mimetic desire turns models into rivals and rivals into enemies. Not because they did anything wrong, but because they carry the desire you believe should be yours. Girard's theory also explains why breakups hurt so much, not because you lose a person, but because you lose the model of desire tied to that person. You lose the reflection of who you were trying to become. It explains why social media is psychologically explosive, because it floods you with thousands of models every day. Everyone's desire becomes your desire. Everyone's life becomes your benchmark. Everyone's success becomes your pressure. Everyone's approval becomes your craving. And the more models you have, the more diluted your own identity becomes. This is why mimetic desire is dangerous. It steals your ability to know what you truly want. But Girard didn't stop there. He noticed another pattern, much darker. When two people imitate each other's desires, they become locked in rivalry. They mirror each other. They copy not just desire, but behavior. They become so obsessed with the other person that they become indistinguishable. Two rivals become twins. This is why people in toxic relationships start behaving alike, why people in competition start acting like each other, why political opponents start mirroring each other's extremes. Mimetic desire turns enemies into copies. The more you fight someone, the more you resemble them. And the more you resemble them, the more you hate the resemblance. The rivalry becomes a psychological trap. Girard believed this mechanism is behind almost every major human conflict. Wars, feuds, revolutions, social breakdowns, even celebrity scandals. Not driven by objective needs, but by spirals of mimetic desire and mimetic rivalry. And to break the cycle, Girard said you must do something incredibly difficult. Stop imitating the models around you and create your own desire. But how do you do that? Let's go deeper. To escape mimetic desire, you must first recognize your models. Ask yourself, where did this desire come from? Why do I want this? Who made this thing look desirable? Why does their approval matter to me? Would I want this if no one could see me? Would I want this if nobody else wanted it? Would I want this if this desire didn't raise my status? These questions cut straight into the truth. If the desire collapses when you remove the model, it wasn't your desire. Most people never ask these questions. They live their entire lives chasing desires they inherited, absorbed, copied, or stole. But there is a second layer of escape, a deeper one. Girard said you must go from external mediation to internal mediation. External mediation means your desires come from outside. Internal mediation means your desires come from inside, meaning from reflection, not imitation. It means asking, what is actually meaningful to me, not to the world? What feels alive inside me? What desire persists even when no one is watching? What would I pursue if admiration didn't exist? What values energize me instead of draining me? This is how you reclaim authenticity, by removing the models, by cutting off comparison, by stepping out of the mimetic spiral. But there's still a third layer, the most important one. Girard said the most powerful models in your life aren't celebrities, rivals, or people you envy. The most powerful model is the person you secretly wish you could become, your future self. If your desires come from this model, from the version of you that is wiser, calmer, stronger, more disciplined, more aligned, then your desires stop being mimetic and start being transformative. You go from imitating people outside you to imitating the person you are capable of becoming. This is why Girard believed self-transcendence breaks the mimetic cycle. When you desire from the inside, imitation no longer controls you. When you desire from the future, rivalry no longer binds you. When you desire from meaning, comparison no longer paralyzes you. This shift is the real freedom. But if you don't make this shift, what happens? You become a slave to mimetic traps. You chase careers you don't want. You chase lifestyles you don't enjoy. You chase relationships that don't fit you. You chase opinions that aren't your own. You chase approval that never satisfies. You keep changing yourself to match models who are also copying other models. A chain of imitation with no beginning and no end. Everyone is copying everyone, and no one knows what they actually want. That is the tragedy Girard saw. Humans don't know how to desire authentically, so they imitate each other endlessly, creating conflict, envy, insecurity, and identity confusion. But the moment you see through this illusion, desire becomes clear. The truth is, you want what you want because someone, somewhere, modeled that desire for you. Your dream life, your goals, your envy, your jealousy, your motivation, they are all shaped by the invisible influence of models. You never desired in a vacuum. You desired in a hall of mirrors. Girard's theory pulls you out of that hall. It makes you see how much of your life has been scripted by imitation, not consciously, unconsciously, not intentionally, automatically. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing mimetic desire everywhere. In marketing, where brands show desire before showing products. In social media, where influencers act as models. In relationships, where people compete for the same person simply because someone else desires them. In careers, where people chase paths because others chase them. In friendships, where envy hides beneath compliments. In families, where siblings rival unconsciously for parental love. You begin to understand yourself with painful clarity. And that clarity is what frees you. Because when you understand mimetic desire, you finally see the difference between a borrowed desire and an authentic one. A borrowed desire drains you. An authentic desire energizes you. A borrowed desire competes. An authentic desire grows. A borrowed desire imitates. An authentic desire creates. A borrowed desire looks outward. An authentic desire looks inward. You reclaim your life one desire at a time, not chasing what others want, but discovering what you want, not imitating, but becoming. That is the power of Girard's mimetic desire theory. It doesn't just explain why you want what you want. It helps you reclaim the freedom to want something different, something real, something chosen, something yours. Because once you become aware of the hidden forces shaping your desires, you stop being controlled by them. And for the first time, you start living from desire instead of imitation. From authenticity instead of rivalry. From meaning instead of comparison. That is how you escape the hidden theory that controls your desires.